Yes, hello everybody. It's Friday, 1st of April, and this is RailFreight Fridays. And next to me is Arie van Dijk.
Hi, good afternoon everybody.
And we're not going to make jokes, we're going to talk about serious news today.
Always.
Yes.
So what's going on in the rail freight industry then, Majorie?
Well, a lot is going on, obviously. One of the most important pieces of news was, again, about electricity. And this has been coming back. That's why I chose it as an article to discuss. It is this article about... no, wait, I'm so sorry. We're talking about something completely different. We're talking about Scotland. For the 1st of April in Scotland, there is going to be a public company taking over the network. And you would say, wow, that is big, only if it was also about freight. And freight is going to be less affected. That is what our correspondent in Scotland said. But nevertheless, it's shocking news because, yeah, it's not very common that a public company takes over everything.
So what does that mean in general then? If I'm a freight operator, I'm working in Scotland, what are the consequences for me?
Well, according to Simon, he kind of pointed it out in this article. The effect on freight is not much, luckily. So why do we discuss it here, you would ask? Because you would think it is going to affect you. But he said freight remains outside the direct management of the government in Edinburgh. So that is, I guess, good news for freight. And sometimes it's just time for good news.
Yeah, for sure. We can use some good news always in the freight industry.
Yes.
Because he said there's a lot going on. So also about energy, of course, we see a lot of changes in the gas industry and so forth. What does that mean for rail freight and the powering of rail freight?
Yeah, well, we see that a lot of companies are having difficulty right now paying their electricity bills, paying their traction on the rails. So that is something that keeps on coming back. And that is why, and that is the article that I actually meant, there is an 80% increase in Spain right now for railway undertakings in their costs. So the energy costs for the electricity costs for railway companies in Spain is
but this, 80%. I think, that's extreme, of course. 80% increase in prices. What does that mean for your operation? And we see, of course, the production costs, a lot of it affected by the energy prices and energy crisis, perhaps I think we can say right now. So what does that mean for the exploitation? Will this be charged to the customer directly, or perhaps is there a middleman?
Well, that is what we're seeing right now. So this company or companies in Spain haven't really talked about it yet, but we know that Lineas per the 1st of April, which is today, is going to add a surcharge, and that was a direct consequence of exactly this. They cannot absorb these high prices anymore. And they expect that they are only the first company to do so, and many will follow. So we're following that news because we want to see the impact on companies, and we expect that more and more railway companies are going to do that. In fact, RSC in Rotterdam, the rail terminal in Rotterdam, is adding surcharges on trucking. So
so you see it through the complete supply chain. So Majorie, do you think this is just a temporary effect, or will we see this long term, and do we have to set ourselves braced for a long term of high prices in transport?
I think the latter, because I mean, in news in general, everybody is talking about these high prices, and there's no clear solution at hand. It was already there because there was going to be less consumption. We thought that was the aim, but now there's the war in Ukraine, which made it even higher, these prices. There's just a shortage of demand, a shortage of supply. So worldwide, and then specifically in this industry, this is going to last for a while.
And also for other modalities? So is it for ocean freight the same thing as for rail, or is it different?
For trucking, it's probably the consequences are the highest because they rely much more on fuel than trains. We know that around 56 or 60% of rail currently runs on electricity, which is a good thing, but the prices of electricity are also going up. So what is actually the solution is alternative fuel sources. But that is at such an early stage still. So railway companies have been looking for that. They have been talking about that, but only now. So it's very far away still. So it's not an immediate solution for this problem. So yeah, as we know, when a supply chain as a whole is impacted by such a thing, it takes a while before.
Yeah, so deal with it, talk to your customers, talk to your business partners, and share the pain, I think.
Yeah, and expect surcharges from rail companies. And some companies have asked their governments as well to jump in to subsidize prices, but at the same time, other people are saying that we shouldn't do that because the very first step towards high electricity prices was to reduce the consumption. So if we then again support or subsidize the prices, yeah.
And also it could cause a not level playing field, because if one government does it and the other does not, it will change the playing field. So I think it's very crucial to keep that in mind.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting discussion, and we keep on following that up.
All right.
Now, another piece of news that at least surprised me is this. This is the update. RailFreight traffic Finland, Russia resumes. But the funny thing, it was only 3 days earlier that the news came out that it was stopped.
Okay.
VR Group, Finland's transport company, railway company, actually thought that they are impacted by the UK sanctions and that they are thereby not allowed to do business with Russian railways. Now, the funny thing is that, not funny, but noteworthy, is that a lot of companies believe that they are impacted by the sanctions, and when they do their due diligence or their homework, they find out that they're not. Well, this was a very telling example, because it's a huge deal to just say that Finland and Russia will not exchange traffic anymore. That's a huge deal. And then it turns out to be not needed. So, yeah, I thought it was an important piece of news.
Yeah, because we also saw that with the Silk Road in an earlier stage. As of course, the combination from Europe to Asia through Russia was also affected by the current measurements, but that was also not the case, right?
Yeah, because a lot of people thought that they cannot do business, and then it turns out they can, but they don't want to.
Yeah.
So the whole impact on the supply chain is actually more.
The effect is the same, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, in the end, it's less traffic, but it's important to distinguish between the possibility and the willingness to do business with Russian railways, and that is a topic that we're going to discuss next week.
Exactly, because a lot of the things we're talking about right now, they are all related. So high energy prices, lack of availability, and also, of course, the challenges with the governments and restrictions are all related to the Ukraine crisis or the Ukraine war, or however you want to call it. There's a lot of things going on in Eastern Europe, particularly part in rail freight, which was developing so strong. So much infrastructure which was being built, a lot of companies moving that way. We're having a lot of events ourselves. So I think it's very good that we say, okay, let's come together. And so in April 6th in Brussels, we're going to have an event, especially about this. We're going to ask the whole rail freight industry to come together in Brussels, but also online. So we've got a lot of online participants as well. And we're going to talk about sanctions. We're going to talk about network. We're going to talk about predictions. Where are you going as an industry? What can you do to minimize your impact? And of course, what can you do to perhaps help the situation get better, right, Majorie?
Yeah, because we do believe that we have a unique community here. We have a community that represents all these countries on the Silk Road, even the countries that currently do not really help each other. So we thought, it's important to keep on coming together and keep on discussing the possibilities and the challenges. And this is the event, as you see, 4 days, 20 hours and 40 minutes. You can still register now. You can do that right here. This is the website. And we just hope to see everybody either online or physically.
For sure. It will be a very serious event, but of course very good to meet each other and see each other as well. Especially in these times with high tensions between countries. We really want to bridge and pull ourselves together and talk about rail freight. And we hope you'll be there as well.
Yes, and otherwise we see you for RailFreight Fridays next Friday. Goodbye, have a good weekend.
Bye.